But seeing you the past couple of weeks, and and having an opportunity to meet you and know what you were doing, and to see you come out as a unit and support the endeavor that your husband was doing for our region was very impressive. Not just for what you were doing at the halftime show, which was cool,
yeah.
but also just being supportive. And I know when we were at the Mixer in Maryville, you got the microphone, and I know you didn't probably realize this, but afterwards you probably did, because there were a lot of people that got emotional when you were just talking about your journey and how, because you remind me of my wife so much, and you were just talking about, you got a lot, you have a lot of stuff to go, and you credit your husband with supporting you and being one of the most supportive people outside of your parents in your life.
Yeah.
But you also want to support him, and you just talked about that. You kind of brought us into your world, and
Yes.
and I think that was one of the things that really resonated that day, because I know a lot of people when you were doing that, they were just like, wow, this is so much positive energy.
Yeah.
She's not just out here propping her husband up for his thing.
Yeah.
She actually buys into it, believes in it, supports it. It's hers, even though it's his. And so I just want to commend you on that, because that's kind of the theme that we do on the show.
Yeah.
We try to promote positive guys and guys doing stuff. We love women, of course, but we like to highlight men doing stuff, and it's good when people support that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really important to me, because as you said, I have a lot going on myself.
Yeah.
But me and my husband both are creatives, and we're both passionate entrepreneurs. And just as you heard me say a little bit at the Mixer, it is so important to me as a wife to be supportive of him.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can seem overwhelming to people, like, you're doing so much, he's doing so much, how do you guys balance it? I mean, of course it's hard work, but I always tell him, like, I want to support me so much that when it's time for you to do what you want to do, I have to be there for you. Like, I feel like even if he didn't support me because I didn't have anything going on per se in the entrepreneur world, as a good wife, I believe that you should love and respect and also support your husband. And so it's fun, because sports and entertainment go together.
They go together.
So I think it's really, like you said, we have separate, but we're together because we complement each other in what we do.
And, I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because, I want to get into Dr. Love, but sports and entertainment do go together. And I think the best example of what is to come with the Professional Hoops Association, you emphasize that, you showed that during the showcase, because it didn't seem out of place when the halftime show came around the first night, and your husband was announcing, I was announcing that it was going to be Dr. Love. When it came out there, it made sense. It looked like this is what it's going to look like going forward. So sports and entertainment, it's really, this is sports entertainment. Yeah,
it's pretty cool to be able to collaborate in that way. Kind of like you said, I'm thinking, well, does Dr. Love go at a halftime? Like, I'm thinking all these things, how does it go? But I agree with you. It seemed like it worked really well.
It did work.
The crowd really liked it. They're interested in going to see the show now, and it was fun. So I just think it was a good combination of both.
I like it. And so let's talk about Dr. Love, because I've had you here before when you were promoting. Was it Dr. Love or one of your other plays? Because you got a couple of things going on.
I think it was Single Woman Chronicles.
That's what it was, Single Woman Chronicles. But let's talk about Dr. Love, which will be coming up in it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah,
and
October.
Yeah, we got the flyers out there. You've been doing other events. You've been performing in other places. But tell us about the genesis of Dr. Love. Where did it come from? How'd you do it? And what's it about?
Yeah. First of all, I never thought I would play a comedic character, ever.
When you do that voice of yours, Dr. Love,
it's like, hello, Dr. Love. So I never thought I would do it. It actually happened on accident. I was a blogger, and I used to do all kind of encouraging videos to women about dating and relationships and marriage, and I would do these short clips on social media, and I was like, what would be so cool if I'm a doctor, like a love doctor. I have the coat, and I'm giving them this advice. They're coming as patients, and then I did that for a while. People liked it. I'm like, you know what? We need to turn it up a notch. She needs to have a Southern funny accent. She needs to wear these funny glasses. Like, let's have fun with this. Like, give real life advice, but in a comedic way.
Right.
And it was like a hit. And so, was it last year? Last year, I did a preview show at the Arts Theater in Gary. Just a small show, just to see, how would people respond. And they loved it. And so we did it at Westside the same year. We just made it bigger and better. And it was a hit, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is so fun.
Yeah.
Like this character is so out of my norm of what I would normally do. And it's hilarious, but it's fun, it's high energy. And so I ended up writing act 2 of it. And so we're doing it this year, but even if someone's seen it before, it's new characters added, new songs, new scenes. So it's almost like a new show. And so I'm really excited because it's fun and it deals with, healthy relationships,
right.
Singleness, marriage. It is surrounded around a married couple. So it's interesting to kind of see they have marriage woes.
Of course, yeah.
And it's so interesting to kind of, I highlight the male's perspective in this one though. A lot of my other shows, I highlight the female perspective. I wanted to kind of switch that up a little bit because I want everything that I do to have a message, but I also feel that it's important to hear a male's perspective and voice as well.
Yeah.
So we do have the single woman who's struggling. We have the woman who's in a situationship who's struggling, but the main focus is this married couple and the woes of the husband, how he feels. And of course there's dancing and goofiness in it and fun songs, but I really wanted to kind of highlight this married couple and kind of show from a male's perspective how it feels to be disrespected or not supported or, because I always, empower women, and I wanted to kind of throw that in there because I feel it's so important that we empower our men and validate their feelings as well in relationships.
Now let's talk about that because you laid out a very elaborate play. Okay, I mean, because you're right, it's got obviously acting and things, but it's got some musical components. It's funny, and there's so many different dynamics. Now, you've talked to us before about your background. You are a West Side Theater girl, aren't you?
Yes, an Emerson girl.
An Emerson girl. Tell us, tell me a little bit about that journey because obviously you've loved the arts for a very long time. It's part of your DNA. But as you kind of grow up, as you've made the leap from high school to college and things like that, how have you kind of stayed on that path and gotten into your own space where you're now producing your own things? Because you're still fairly young. I mean, you should be out here going to auditions or, hey, listen to my demo. Here, guess what? I'm over here. I wrote this. Would you please read it? But you have done something that I personally admire because this is my little wheelhouse is instead of knocking on doors all the time and maybe, and that's okay, and maybe kind of dealing with frustration and wasting a lot of man hours sometimes kind of going and waiting for somebody to see what you see, you decided I'm going to go out here and just put it out here. I'm willing to put myself out here, as you just alluded to, maybe have a little test market, see what's going on. I can tweak it. I'm capable of doing that. I criticize myself better than anybody else. How did you get on that journey? What inspired you at such a young age?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was a long road actually. I ended up going to Columbia College for a while for the arts for dancing and theater. And, life happened. I had to get a full-time job. It was hard commuting every day and working at Columbia, paying for college. And so I had to quit for a while and I had to just go into full-time working. And I kept getting promoted into retail management. And I quit school for a while. And I loved management. I learned so much. But of course, that yearning for the arts always came back. So I was trying to do gigs here and there. And sometimes it was possible. But as I kept, rising on that ladder of corporate, I couldn't do it anymore, managing a business. So I thought, well, this must be the way. I'm going to get a business degree. So I did that, and that was cool. I like business, but it did not fire me up like the arts. And eventually,
it didn't satisfy.
No. And so someone from church said, you know what, Sharpria is a great speaker. Why don't we hire her for a nonprofit to speak to youth? And I did that almost for, maybe like 7 years.
Yeah, wow.
And that allowed me to do shows at like the Star Plaza and West Side Theater Guild and things like that. Around 22, I think I was hired at the West Side Theater Guild to be a choreographer for the guild. And that was awesome because I was able to actually sometimes act in the shows and dance in the shows. And so after, I was working at the nonprofit, I got married, and that's honestly when it all changed. When I got married,
most things changed.
It changed because we were
for the better.
Yeah, for the better. We were a long distance couple. I moved to South Carolina because he was a college basketball coach. And at that time, I didn't have a job, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Act." It's like, well, go ahead. And I'm like, it's not that easy. We're not in Chicago, New York, or LA. Like, South Carolina doesn't have that much, I could probably try to get in the theater. But I kept getting, I accredit it to God because someone just messaged me and said, do you still act?
Out of nowhere.
And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, they were in Chicago, and they're like, okay, I have a role for you. It's a lead role. If you want it, you have it. I did not audition.
Wow.
they were like, it's also a singing role. They never heard me sing.
Yeah.
I'm like, but right before that happened.
How did they come across you? I mean, was this random?
So I think I had joined a lot of Facebook acting groups.
Okay.
So I think they saw me in there, but at that point I had not really posted me acting.
Yeah.
But right before that, I feel like when you put stuff out in the world, God rewards you when you just take that step of faith.
Yeah.
My husband told me, well, just act. Go on YouTube and just do something. And I did. I did like a 5-part series, improv monologue series where I talked about women's issues, and then afterwards I did a live talk with women.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. Women liked it. And I called it Single Woman Chronicles. It was
that's where that came
from.
Yeah.
And after that, I feel like God just gave me all of the play. I just started writing it down. In like a month, I was like done with it.
Yeah.
And it was part of like my struggles being a single woman, part of other struggles I felt like women dealt with. And those improv monologues I did, I took those and put them in the show and built the show around it. And around that time, it's like I said, someone just out of the blue asked me that. And we were in South Carolina. My husband, this is why it's so important to have a supportive spouse.
Yeah.
He's like, we need to go. I'm like, but we're in South Carolina. Like, this is in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying, but they're not paying astronomical. You know what I mean? It's not like life-changing.
Right.
It's not like, so we're going to take a little hit from it. But he's like, but you need to pursue this.
Wow.
And we did. And I was just getting...
He's one of the good ones, isn't he?
Yes, amazing. And, I was getting so many gigs and calls from Chicago, like for commercials and modeling and different things. And he's like, we need to move back home. Yeah. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, that's where our favor is. People, the Chicago, for theater, Chicago's great.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have to be in New York. You really don't.
don't.
And so he's like, let's go back.
Especially improv and comedic theater. Absolutely.
It's great, right? And so, and then we came back home and COVID hit.
Yeah.
And that's where everything stopped. But that's okay because it gave me time to think through what I want to do, write some more, create some more. I had some contracts with theaters. Those got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
But then I ended up, I didn't want to stop. So I looked for churches that were, open to letting me rent. And Living Hope Church in Maryville, they were still renting out their sanctuary.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It seats about 1,000 people.
Wow.
And I never thought of it, but I feel like God told me to. I went there. I had to go there for something that I wasn't going there for. It was a freak accident, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I ended up going there, and I was like, I should ask if they rent this.
Yeah.
And they did. And I mean, it was amazing. My first show did not look like it was a beginner show because they had people there to help me.
Yeah.
And they had staff like lighting people and sound people that were like, oh, we'll help you.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a God thing because I didn't know how to do everything.
Right.
I knew the acting piece, dancing piece, but I didn't know everything about lighting and all those things. And they were able to help me. And honestly,
but you knew what it looked like coming from Mark Spencer in the theater.
Oh yeah,
right?
And
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
There are a lot of times I'm in situations where I know what it looks like because I am around very talented people.
Yes.
Is that my wheelhouse per se? No, but I'm smart enough. I've been exposed enough to know what I need and what I want. And so
yeah, that's so true. I didn't realize how much I knew until I kind of jumped into it. I guess I just caught it from being around it.
Osmosis, I call it.
Yes, because I can't tell you the technical term for everything, but I can say, hey, no, I need this, like that,
Yeah.
And so you are right. I guess I did catch a lot from being in shows growing up and things like that. But theater, I mean, I love it. I love that I'm in the region because I've been in shows, obviously at Emerson, the smaller stage, the auditorium that they used to have, West Side stage, I believe Wirt stage, and also the Star Plaza. And it means so much to me. Like, this is where I began.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm beginning my journey of being a playwright and an actor. And I wanted to create my own because you're right, there can be a lot of disappointment in auditioning.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That is
it's part of life.
It's part of the deal.
But my thing was always like, why am I waiting for you to validate what I already know about myself?
Yes, yeah.
Like, I'm not waiting for you to tell me that I can be a lead of a musical or a lead of a play.
Right.
I'll just write a role for myself.
For myself.
Yeah, this is the story that I want to tell. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of stories for Black girls that I wanted to tell, I'm being honest, that I wanted to be in. And sometimes growing up, because I went to Emerson and did a lot with Westside, but I ended up eventually going to Andrean.
Yeah.
Had a great experience there. Loved Andrean. However, though, in a lot of situations, a lot of the musicals we were doing, there's not a Black lead.
Yeah.
And at that time, it wasn't as popular, to put Black girls in leads that were traditionally for white girls. So I just didn't feel like I had the opportunity. So now I just feel like, the world is just a place where we're creating our own. We're making space for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're building opportunities for others. And I've always been kind of that kind of person.
Yeah.
Like, start your own. Don't wait for someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. We're talking about Miss Shabria Shine, of course. She is the writer, playwright, author of the upcoming play, Dr. Love, but also the Single Woman Chronicles, which she blessed us with talking about a couple of years ago, actually, when we first got an opportunity to meet her. You know, one of the things that I want to ask you about that you mentioned, and I'm a film buff, I love entertainment and all that, and obviously my wife is one as well, but I have these conversations with her, but I've been a film person all my life, and one of the things, you could call me a frustrated movie maker and all that kind of stuff, whatever I am, but one of the things that I have observed, and I'm very impressed by it, is this new movement of people who have talent, who have been using the platforms, the YouTubes, the things like that, to kind of go out here and highlight. And I'm going to speak specifically to you, and because you're not kind of directly intertwined with them, but I'm going to categorize you with them. With a young lady who did the show Insecure. Yes. With the young lady who ended up being the star of, and God bless her, winning an Emmy for Abbott Elementary. And a lot of these talented people who have adopted and are cut from the same DNA that you have, at least passion-wise, of going out here and saying, you know what, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to put my product out here, and I'm going to put it out there on the market. And they have absolutely gotten discovered, they've gotten win, and they're still in control of their product. And as I said, when I think about Insecure, the TV shows, the spin-offs, for some of the actors and actresses who came up through that, the Abbott Elementary, and now what you're doing in theater and things. Do you feel that as you're growing that you're also giving voice and opportunity to those people who were much like yourself, have the same bug like yourself, and are learning about, you know, I'm in a very safe space, a familiar space, and I want to be a part of this, and maybe something will happen for me as a result of it?
Absolutely. I love that, you know, through what I've been able to do, I've been able to give opportunity to some who've never acted. But they're phenomenal. Because they have a natural talent, a natural gift from God. And it's been amazing, like, just to see their growth and to see, wow, I put in the first play, second play, third play, and just to see their versatility. And some of them are really amazing, and I absolutely see them. It sparks something in some of them that they're like, this is what I want to do.
This is what I want to do.
Never thought it. Or some people thought, you know, well, I thought I was too old or it was too late because I didn't start younger. And I'm like, no, let's just get you on the stage. Let's just see how it goes. And it's been phenomenal because me and my husband are very big about, you know, bringing opportunities to others around us. And I definitely agree with that. I pray and I hope that it opens up doors for everyone that's involved that desires it to do so. And
I think the doors are still opening for you. And like I said, it's kind of crazy because I do look at these other women who are out here in their spaces, and you're right there doing your own thing too, because a lot of this stuff, as you've talked about and a lot of other people talk about in different things, really were born out of the pandemic. I always like to tell the audience, and full disclaimer, pandemic was bad. But it was the epitome of a silver lining for so many people. It really was, because what it did was it forced us to slow down, stop. Whether some of us wanted to do so or not, we had to. And people looking across the table at their spouses or at their loved ones, at their kids, said, you know, I can't just be this fragile. I've got to go out here. If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down doing something that I want to do. And they went out there and they got back into that writing. They got back into pursuing that dream of maybe starting a basketball league, or maybe I want to go out here and open my own business and I want to do hair. Or I've had so many different people that have come on. And the pandemic was really that genesis where they got an opportunity to say, just what you said, I'm not too old. I don't need to put this on the shelf and just kind of, you know, lament about what I could have done. I can go out here and do it. And I think that that's what you and your husband are to so many people. You're kind of like an inspiration. I mean, you really are. I mean, like, once again, going back to that Mixer Friday, that Friday over in Maryville, just watching you two talking, you know, I feel these things. I go through all these things myself. But watching other people say it, you get what I mean? And watching your journey and how you gamble on yourself, it just it's so reassuring and it's so inspirational. It really is.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And it is a journey, and I always tell people, I was on a radio station, a podcast yesterday, and I said, hey, it's probably easier to go work for someone else.
It is. It just really
is. It just is, you know. I said, but at the end of the day, like, I really, you know, this is the legacy I want to leave. This is the life that I want to have. There's going to be hard work. There's going to be disappointments. There's going to be tough times. There's going to be a lot of times you're going to want to give up a lot of times that you're going to say this may not be worth it.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I always say that's why you have to really be passionate about what you're doing, because when you have those moments, and I've had a lot of those moments, you realize, no, I absolutely love this and I deserve an opportunity to see my dreams fulfilled and to be able to bless others through it, kind of like you were saying.
Yeah.
Some of these people will not get another opportunity. Maybe I may not even get an opportunity, but it's time for us to create our own opportunities.
Yeah, well, speak to that real quick, and then I want to get to Dr. Love, because you know, right now I'm, and they're probably watching. I know they are. The Gary International Black Film Festival is into their fellowship, and I've been ear hustling my wife, who is over here holding meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
But each year you hear a lot of people who are trying, who have dreams of being filmmakers, dreams of being storytellers. But not only with entertainment, theater, or film, or anything like that, I want you to talk about the discipline, because that, in fact, I think is also the key that a lot of people learned post-COVID, is that, it's easier to work for somebody else. And one of the reasons I always try to talk about, because I say this all the time, is that it's kind of laid out for you what's required of you. You do it, you get up, you go to work, you know when you're supposed to be there, you know when you're allowed to leave, and while you're there, you know to be focused. But when it's your own thing, it's different, because you got your other thoughts. You've got, hey, I should be doing this. Did I remember to go take the kids? Or do I need to walk the dog? Oh, I got to sit here and write out my treatment. I got to do this. Talk about the discipline that you had to kind of, and maybe it was a part of you just kind of coming up and being great in school and all that, but talk about the discipline that's required for you to go out here and do what you do. It's not just fly by night. It's not just luck. You put the work in.
Yeah, I think this is a great conversation. Me and my husband always talk about it, because I feel like we always talk about the fact that when I used to be in management or work for someone else, how much discipline I had, how good and excellent I was for them. And we always talk about how you have to be that for yourself, even 10 times. And to be honest, if I'm being transparent, I've struggled with that.
We all do.
Yeah, because it's like
it's our time.
Yes, it's like an ongoing battle. And sometimes to keep yourself accountable, you have to put measures in place and systems in place. And I'm still working through that now. But as far as like producing a show, I do set a schedule as far as rehearsals and things like that. So the production piece, I feel like it's easy for me. I'm used to that. The rehearsal schedule, that can be tough with everyone's schedules, putting that together. But once it's set, it's kind of like clockwork. I know I have rehearsal 3 times a week. It is what it is. If I need to, tweak choreography or pick songs, I know, like, I have my deadlines. So that's very easy for me and natural. But sometimes the business piece is not as natural. Because when I was in management and business, like you said, you already know what's required of you. The system's laid out. And there's accountability. If you don't get it together, your boss is going to say, what are you doing, you know? But for me, setting up the systems, it has been a challenge. So I've just been working through that, because for me, I'm not only running the business, I am the talent. And that can be tough. So I've considered at times, like, well, maybe I shouldn't be the talent. Maybe I should just run the business. But at the core of me, I love performing.
I love it. I love that aspect of it. I mean, that's where I want to ask you, because for people out there that are listening about doing that, how do you separate yourself? And you know what's kind of crazy is, and I know it seems like this love fest that I have for you guys, and I really do. I genuinely like you as people, but your husband has kind of had to deal with this in his own way. Back when he was, and he told me his story when he was playing still, and then they brought him up into the office, and he had to at times maybe pivot like that. I want to ask you though about you, because a lot of people do want to do that. They say, I want to write and produce. I want to be like Spike Lee, or I want to do my own thing. But it's not easy, because you've got to be able to look at yourself and say, listen, I want to be in my own thing. I wrote it, but am I good enough? Am I the guy for this character? Or maybe I should play a supporting one and go out here and hire a person or to play the lead character the way I intended. I mean, how do you navigate that?
How do I gauge it? Yes. Well, it's been easy in the beginning, because I've literally wrote the roles for myself. But now that I've done, like, I think 6 plays now, it is a little bit different. So I did one play where I was not the main character last year. Where Jerry Henderson was the main character. I was in it as more of a supporting role, but I'm very honest and true about the characters. Like, if there's someone in my theater group that know they are going to kill this role, and they are,
it's about the role.
It's about the project and my goal, like overall impact. So if I am not the person for that, I'm okay with that. That's not a problem for me, and I do understand what you're saying. Some people are like, nope, I got to be the star. And I mean, if that's why you created what you created, okay, that's fine. But for me, it is about the impact. I mean, it's about the story. The story, and a lot of the stories I do write with me in mind. But sometimes I just get amazing stories and I'm not the right person for that role.
Thank you. That's how
and that's
I am.
okay.
Yeah,
and that's totally fine because you don't have to be the star of every show.
No, because I think that a good writer and somebody like that, if you are really true to the telling the story, sometimes you say, you know what, maybe I can help emphasize and tell the story better for the lead character if I play the supporting one over here and they can play off me.
Absolutely.
Because that way I can keep them true to what I envision. You know, that guy or that gal might not just be me. I mean, it would just be kind of me. They're doing a great job with it. They're running with it.
Yes, absolutely. And in the future, I won't be in all my shows because, I mean, I have a desire to produce at a more rapid pace. And that's tough when you're in every show, when you're the lead of every show. Even going from Single Woman Chronicles in March to now Dr. Love, it was a little challenge because I'm doing so much, and I was the lead in Single Woman Chronicles, and obviously with Dr. Love, she's the lead.
Absolutely.
So I won't always do that because I would like to produce more frequently. And it's just a lot when you are now. Once you put people in place and you have other people running other parts of your business, it may not be a lot, but you just have to set those systems in place and those people so that you're not doing everything.
We're talking with Miss Shabria Shine. She, of course, as you hear, is the person behind the wonderful stage play Dr. Love. We're going to get into it. It's coming to the theater right here in Northwest Indiana, and it'll be here before you know it. We're going to talk about how you can get tickets, when it's going to be, and how you can go out here and support. I want to ask you about your directing style. I want to get behind and how the sausage is made for those people out there that might be. I mean, how would you describe yourself as a director? I mean, there are directors out there, and I would envision myself being kind of like this. I'm one of those people that after the initial read, after the initial kind of table read and orientation, as I like to refer to it, I kind of like to let the thing grow. I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and I was just telling her about my process, and my wife is very meticulous. That's what makes her great as well. I'm different. I'm one of these guys, and I come up through this little Stephen King type of thing because I used to dream about being a psychological thriller novelist. That's what I wanted to be. But one of the things that I've always kind of believed is you kind of create the scenario and the environment, and you might create the characters, and then after that I get to meet them. I let them go where they're going. They're in the parameters of the story, but all I'm doing is transcribing what it is they're doing, their interactions and things like that. I'm learning about them like I hope the audience does. And so I would direct and things like that. I would allow the actors hopefully to flourish within those parameters. How would you describe yourself as a director?
I'm definitely free-flowing as far as that. Because you discover some great things when you kind of give your actors a little bit of freedom to kind of grow with the character and explore. And it's okay. Let them be outlandish. You can always reel them back in. But I do, because there's been several moments where I kind of just let them free flow, and I'm like, I like that.
Or you didn't even see it coming.
Or you did this line, that little ad lib. Let's add that in the script. You know what I mean? So I love creatives, and a lot of people that I work with are creatives, so we kind of work together. Of course, I have the last say. It's my story. If it's going too off of the main point,
that's what I
reel them back in. So I'm not that lenient where it's like they totally changed the paragraph or what the intention is, but I do give a little leeway.
Because that's what I wanted to ask, because that to me has always been, and I've never obviously been in the theater stage or in the theater space or what have you. I kind of lived vicariously through my wife, who was a theater major, but you're a theater person. But from somebody who's always loved the arts and always, ever since I was a little kid, seeing the Tap Dance Kid with Alfonso Ribeiro was my first play. And of course all the other ones that my parents took me to. But I've looked at the theater is that place where the director does have to rein it in. While you want the actors to go out here and embrace the role and bring a little bit of themselves, they still have to stay in the context. In film, you maybe can allow the script to go other places because it can always be changed. But the theater seems a little bit more deliberate.
It is. I mean, you definitely don't want them just ad-libbing and changing and you will get people like that because they're funny or they're creative, and you just have to reel them in because again, you wrote the script for a reason. You want them to read the script, and so you do have to reel them in. But initially, I do like to see a little what they have.
See what they got.
And then I reel them in, to say, not really that. I want you to say it just like this, or let's be a little bit more comedic on here. Let's be a little bit more angry. So you definitely, of course, as you know, have to direct them and guide them, as that's what a director does. But I do give them a little bit of freedom at first, and then as we're going on, I have to reel it in and kind of make sure they're sticking to the integrity of my story and my purpose for it.
Now, let me ask you about this, and then we'll get to Dr. Love, because this is probably something that you and your husband absolutely share as a unit in common, because obviously I saw him and the wonderful production he put on in the showcase for 2 days. And so let's talk about this, because this is the other part of the discipline and the heavy lifting that a lot of people who have these grandiose dreams about getting in entertainment and show business and doing my own thing, they also don't understand the logistics and the business part. And that's kind of what you alluded to, that there is a Shabria that has to call and arrange for the theater. That's the first thing. And then now you got to get set design. Now you have to get wardrobe. Now you got to work out the intricacies of ticket sales and making sure that this person's paid. Maybe hopefully I can barter something with this person. Tell me about wearing that hat, because that requires something that everybody can't do. Some people in that field that you're in, as we were talking about corporate America, some people just want to direct. They don't want to know how the play is put together. They want to get the job and say, hey, Shabria, I want you to direct this play. I got the theater. I run the theater. I'll get the set design. I got wardrobe. You tell me what you need. I'll get it done. Just direct the play. But you do it all. And so tell me what that's like.
I mean, that's awesome to just do the one thing.
Of course it's awesome, because you know what's expected.
And that's it. But with anything, when you're starting your own thing and you're bootstrapping it, as I have, you know, it's very different, you know, than paying, you know, you have all these staff to do everything. But it's great because I'm learning so many things. And you know, if somebody calls off or they quit on you last minute, you know how to run your business. That's important. And my father, as used to be an entrepreneur, he taught me, you want to know even if you're not in charge of it, you want to know how to run every part of your business.
Every part.
Because if something goes wrong, you know how to either direct someone else or to do it yourself. But yes, you definitely have to put that hat on. I would say making those decisions isn't hard for me, like calling the theater, setting all those things up, having the vision for what I want them to wear and this and that. However, I will say, you know, that's just a piece of it, but then you have the marketing, then you have the sales. I think for me, the sales and marketing is the biggest thing, because that's what's really bringing in the revenue. And I think you cannot do everything on your own. So I'm moving more into the space of hiring and moving away from those things, because I do have to be able to focus on what I need to focus on to grow the business. You know, like go after funding, or, you know, go create new projects. And I know with theaters, sometimes they have artistic directors and different things like that. But I love to choose what I'm going to do for the season and those types of things. But you definitely have to get help, because, you know, when it's a one-woman show, you can only do that for so long. You get burnt out. And I've done that for a while, and I was great at it, but you start to get burnt out with that. Especially,
that's what I was going to ask. How do you control that anxiety? Because also one of the things, and I see my wife doing this, and I'm pretty sure you go through this as well, is that when you do have your tentacles and everything, like I believe you should, your father was absolutely right, and then it is showtime. And you are watching the play. Let's say it's the first night. You are, whether you want to or not, I watch people like you all. You are listening and watching every moving piece on the stage. Absolutely. I watch my wife is watching the actors, but she's also listening to the cues up in the booth and things like that. How do you deal with not pulling your hair out and being able to, you know, kind of stay level and keep the thing going forward?
Yeah, I would say probably the amount of shows that growing up that I was in, it just helped. I'm used to it.
You're
now.
Used to
that
it.
anxiety.
What can go wrong will go
and
wrong.
We were always taught the show must go on. It doesn't matter if your wig falls off, you trip, you have a wardrobe malfunction. You better act like it's part of the show. Like I've been in so many shows and competitions and dance competitions, so you kind of just realize. It's go time.
Part of the deal.
It's part of the deal. And one thing that I had to master and that I'm still working on is, like you said, it's different when you can watch it and you're not in it. But when you're on stage in it and there's mistakes happening, it used to eat me up. And I'm on stage acting, but someone did something wrong or something didn't happen right. And I'm like, this is not right. Like, what is going on? But I had to learn, let that go. You're on stage now. You have to let that go, because what it was doing was robbing me, and I'm learning now, robbing me from really fully being able to be in the moment in my character. You know, and I don't think the audience notices, but I know.
But you know.
And I'm like, I'm not fully able to embody, which if I'm being real with you, I'm really not able to fully embody my character until the week of the show.
Right.
Really.
You can't. You're doing too much.
I'm focusing on everything.
Yeah.
So it's like when it's show, and not even dress rehearsal really, because I'm still, but when that show day comes, it's like, what happens. I have to pull this off.
Compartmentalization.
I have to be Kara or Dr. Love or whoever I'm playing. And that's been a thrill, but it's been a challenge as well.
No, I understand that totally on a very different scale. I know when we've done things on the show, or even when I do this, a lot of things, I'm a totally different person until I hit the mic on. And then I'm kind of in my space and I try to just stay in the moment. Now I'm just Jeff on the mic, but a lot of other times when I'm having guests or when I'm hosting things or I'm in other venues, I am such an anxiety-ridden person. I really am. My wife would tell you, but once the thing goes on, I kind of try to take in my moment, and I'm like, you can control this space. Just go ahead and be in it. So I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah, anxiety has definitely tried to overtake me at times. Seriously.
It does.
So I definitely have had to have coping mechanisms. Not even lying. I thought maybe I was just more prone to anxiety or something, but I've definitely had to, do so many things like prayer, meditation, like compartmentalize things, go for a walk. Like it has been a journey for me, but I definitely, read scripture or pray or whatever it is, listen to music. I've done it all, and I continuously do. I think it's part of my self-care, just because being an entrepreneur, it can be full of anxiety if you allow it to, but learning to separate business and my life, that has been something that I'm still with that balance. Sometimes you can't have balance when you're in your play season. It's just life. You're just not having no balance. Like,
it's not going to happen.
Sun up, sun down until the show's over, especially that month of, there's no life balance. But then after, I'm trying to make a conscious effort to say, okay, take a break now. You just did 4 months.
Are you deliberate? Are you and your husband deliberate about that? Do you all say, listen, we've really been going through it. You've been in your thing. I'm in my thing. We're going to have some time. And we got to get away. You agree? Yeah. I'm agreeing. We're going to take some time for us.
You know what? We know it in theory, but we weren't doing it. We would always say
exactly.
it, and then we jump right into the next thing.
Yeah.
And this year, we finally said, after the Dr. Love, we're like, after this is over, no, we're going to take some time and really start focusing on self-care and just relaxation.
Yeah.
Because you can't be successful burnt out.
No.
You can't. So we definitely are going to prioritize like a vacation or trip or just doing nothing for a week or two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like I said, you guys are like my little favorite couple right now. You're like so cute. I want to bottle you up. We're talking with Miss Shabria Shine, of course. As I said, Dr. Love is coming around. Let's talk about that. When the play has already been running, we got your flyers out here, and we used to have a big stack, so people are obviously coming by here, grabbing them. But you've been doing some runs. Now we're getting into October. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it's October 10th at Westside Theater.
Yeah.
So we're really excited. It's actually, we were going to do several shows. We're just going to do one night only. And we're excited about that. It's at 6 p.m. Or they can also sign up for the VIP experience as well. And so tickets are only $35, but if they use code Dr. Love, the number 10, they get $10 off, so they're $25. So it's a fun show. It's not just for women. We've had guys come. We've even had them bring their kids, people, because I think because Dr. Love is so funny and colorful, kids may not understand all of the content, but they just love it.
They like the voices. I saw it at the showcase during the halftime. They like the little funniness of it.
They do. And at our first show, they were all around me taking pictures. They wanted to sing the theme song with me because it's funny. So it's a great thing. And kids, they have to be 5 and older. But they can definitely come because they enjoy it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's still a family friendly show.
It is.
Absolutely. So 5 and older is just we want people to be respectful.
Yeah.
And sometimes kids, young kids just don't know when not to cry.
Yeah. So they don't know better.
Yeah, they don't know better at the time. I know I didn't, and so that's kind of I don't want people to think that this is a show that has some illicit content.
Oh, no,
it's not one of those. It's very funny. Your work is always typically like that. Very family friendly, rooted in scripture and spirituality, but it's not one of those overt things that is kind of like. But it's definitely something that I think speaks to everybody.
Yeah. We're gonna have a good time. So we're really excited. Last show, people were buying the Dr. Love T-shirts and it was a big thing.
You know what, you're gonna have to market because it's become your thing. Go out here and buy you a bunch of smocks. And get you some lab coats and get your Dr. Love cursive and sell those because I think that's
cool.
That's the mantra. That's the thing of Dr. Love. You came out in the showcase with it on. It's in your posters.
Yes, they love the coat. And you're right. I don't have that as a merchandise option. And someone did say that, like, where's the coat? So that might be good.
There you go. You're truly good for something. But anyway, it is absolutely a pleasure. Tell me where you're headed next. After you finish this, what are kind of bring us into some of your aspirations, dreams.
Sure.
I mean, are we gonna see anything on video and celluloid? I know they don't do film like that anymore.
Yeah.
But are we gonna see anything like that? Any projects like that in the work?
Yeah.
I know you got books, things
Yes.
like that. Please talk about that.
Yes, so we're definitely going to do a screening tour of Single Woman Chronicles to get it out to more cities. So we're going to tour it and showcase Single Woman Chronicles next year. But also, I have another project called Crown, and it's pretty much it's a stage play about my hair journey of going natural in society, of dealing with racial, different, discrimination, different things in the workplace. But it's actually still a really fun show about unity and peace and acceptance. But also, you're right, film. I do want to get into that. As we talked about before, I will probably start doing a series and to look for distribution, whether that's YouTube or whether that's Tubi or whether that's shopping it somewhere. Definitely want to get into film. I love theater, but I also love film. So I want to start small and build, grow for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it. You do some good stuff.
Thank you.
You and your husband. And real quick, just pop in, just say hi, brother, while you're in here.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? Louis Shine, of course, the executive director, founder, idealist behind the Professional Hoops Association. Also, the other half of the Shine team. You guys are pretty awesome, and we appreciate everything you do. And so once again, give me the logistics. We want people to get tickets. We want them to get it. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Love, the stage play, October 18th, 6 p.m. Go to charbria.com/Dr. Love. That's CHARB as in boy, RIA.com/Dr. Love. And you can get your tickets. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're going to get you here. I mean, October, it seems like it's because we're just about to hit August. So it seems like, oh my God, that's like 2.5. It's really going to be here before you know it, just like August was. And we want to get you on here at least one more time before the show to let people know. But it's a pleasure as always, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I had such a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. This Shines, ladies and gentlemen. Shabria Shine, Dr. Love, October 18th, Westside Theater Guild. Get your tickets, $35, but with the promo code $25, family friendly. Go out here and support. All right, tell you what.